Hey, welcome back to the Brewery Underground podcast where, Scott Turon, it is not Oktoberfest season as of yet. It shall be soon.
It should always be.
I agree. But we're going to be a little early. I'm going to say prost to you because you just got back from Germany where it is always Oktoberfest season all year long in Germany. Is that right?
All the time. Like not the festivals per se, but the
Yeah.
beer that is served is there all the damn time.
All the dang time. I know.
And it's everywhere you go. It's not the same beer, but it's the same style of beer that you might get in Oktoberfest, and it's quite lovely, Steve.
I know. Well, we have so many things that we're going to talk about on this podcast episode. We got some local stuff we're talking about. We're talking about your trip to Germany, along with your friend Chris Finnan and some other friends. We've got some beers and breweries that we're going to rate so far for the year because we're already at the midway point of the year. How the heck can that happen, right?
I don't know. I don't know. It goes by so quickly.
It does. It does. Well, I searched my refrigerator for something German related because I was like,
Ooh.
I mean, what can be related to do I have any German beers, that would go along with the German theme because you just went to Germany and the only one that I could find that would do it justice, one of our favorite breweries here in Nashville. Look at this. Fayette LaForce.
Okay.
Can you read
It's a
that?
Helles. It's a Helles
Yep.
lager. Don't prod
Yep.
the lioness.
Yeah. How about
Helles
that?
lager.
Nice can
That
art.
is yes, a fine pick, sir.
Well, thank you. I have had this sitting in my refrigerator for a short period of time. In fact, when we were going to be doing some beer trades over the last couple of months, and I had purchased some beer at various places, and I'm pretty sure I purchased this at Main Street Liquors. I almost gave this out at a beer trade, and then at the last minute, I decided, you know what, I'm going to keep it for myself.
You made the right decision. I don't know
Being
what
a
you
little
gave in
selfish.
its place, but the fact that you have it now.
I think I don't know what replaced it, but I can tell you there was some good beer that we did on the beer trades too. So
No
whoever
doubt.
did not get this, they would have gotten something as equal, if well, maybe not better, but as equal and good.
And the fact that you have that now is very timely, and it worked out perfectly.
Well, thank you, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for bringing up the German
Hmm.
side and the beer and a nod to the German trip that I just took, which we'll get into a little bit later, and it was fantastic. By the way, they're still trying to figure out how to make good beer. I tried to help them a little bit. They're pretty set in their ways,
Yeah.
but
Well,
it's okay. It's okay. We'll let them do their thing.
I have some questions about some of the beer styles and things like that coming up. But what are you drinking, sir?
Okay. Okay. Funny thing. So I didn't even go into the archives like you did. I don't really have anything German related. As a matter of fact, someone today asked me, "Did you bring any beer back?" And I go, "No, I drank every bit of it. I didn't actually bring any German beer back." However, to answer your question, and this is related to today because we released an episode today, and it was with Mr. Tyler Boone, and I am
Uh,
drinking the Boone's beer, which is very blurry.
mm,
It's the last one I had in the fridge, and I thought it's a really good. It is a Pilsner, which is a lager, which technically is a German style beer. So lovely beer. We just
there
had
you
it
go.
recently, and if anybody's paying attention, we released that episode today.
Yes.
So
And
I'm
people are
starting with
paying
that one.
attention.
Yeah, they're certainly paying attention, and I do have this one, but I've been sipping on this for a good 30 minutes now. So while we're at it, let me just jump to the next one that I'm about to get to.
Okay.
And I found this the other day. It's from our friends Founders.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh. And it's the Bottle Shop series, and it's called Nemesis.
Oh, look at that.
And I'll be cracking this in a minute. It is a barley wine, completely unrelated to Germany, by the way, with roasted malts. It's an ale with roasted malts, and I think it is 11.2%. It is the 20. I believe I saw 2021 or something on this thing. Yeah, bottle 3/8/2021. So that'll
All
be the
right.
next one. All right. So I
Well,
gave you more than you asked for.
that's okay. And you mentioned Tyler Boone, and we haven't really had the chance to talk about him on a podcast. Other than doing the podcast with him. But I just wanted to say, as you said, as the day we're recording this, that episode just came out, and that was the first time that we've done a podcast at a recording studio. He was so gracious with his time. I mean, he paid for extra time. And I think the podcast episode, it was like 2 hours.
2 hours and 10 minutes.
And we talked about so many things with that guy, and it was so enjoyable. And I really look forward to getting him back on at some point, because he's involved in a lot of different things, whether it's music, whether it's his bourbon, his beer. I mean, the guy keeps busy.
He's busy, very likable. The fact that he wanted to stay another hour and not like that, guys, I got something to do, like anything else. Like he wanted to stay another hour, which was fantastic. We were having such a great conversation. That first hour flew by like crazy. And the great thing about him, aside from the interview, he was honest, he was forthcoming, he was insightful on all the stuff he's working on. But dude, we have a direct line to him. So,
Yeah.
we talk to him regularly about just other things and stuff. So really cool guy, really accessible in this area. And we really appreciate him and just for coming on. And hey, I met him before that, and he was a lovely guy then. Just to hang out with him was a cool thing. So to have him on, and I think we'd consider him a friend of the podcast for sure.
Well, I hope it goes back to, you and I talk about this all the time. The goal of our podcast, to highlight craft beer, to highlight breweries, to interview guests and things like that, make everybody feel welcome. And I kind of laugh because when I went back and I was listening to, our Cincinnati episode and our Cleveland episode, there are certain times where I would listen to myself and I'm like, I got a little hyped up there. I'm like, we went here and there and everywhere. And people are probably like, man, Steve, can you embellish even more than you already are? But we're having fun. And the point is, you got to be entertaining. We're not sitting in a library talking to somebody about the movie or the book Moby Dick. we want people to be entertained as we are about what we do. So hopefully that comes across.
And it's about our own experiences. It's not about potential experiences or things we might want to do one day down the road. It's something we did and we lived and we just did and experienced it. So forgive us if we were excited, and and forgive us if we don't talk about someone else's podcast. You cut that out. I just had to get it out.
Yeah, really. Hey, you know what else I'm excited about?
Yeah, what's that?
So I was looking at our stats the other day on Spotify, and I love to see where people are listening to us, because I'm still waiting for the Antarctica check-in. We haven't got it yet.
The signal's on the way, I'm sure.
Yeah. Spotify will they will gauge where people are listening to your podcast. Now we have 98% listenership in the United States. We have 0.4% in Norway. You know anybody there?
Mm-mm.
Maybe an old girlfriend or something?
She wouldn't listen if she were there. That's why she's there in the first place.
Yeah, mine took off to Norway too. So
yeah. Maybe it was when I left Germany or flew into Germany. I was listening to our podcast. Maybe it flew over Norway and it caught a signal or something. It could be me. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. We have 0.3% listening from Russia. 0.2% in the United Kingdom, and I mean there's some other ones.
Wow. I have so many questions about that. All right, we got to find who that person is.
Yeah, I mean, is it a lady that has a beach house? Because if so, I'm there.
There's a pretty good chance there's a beach house close by.
Yep.
Jamaica.
All right.
No, we got to start talking about Red Stripe. Is that what we have to do next? Just
sure,
we'll build our Jamaican audience.
Yeah.
Well, those are cool. Those are neat to see. I had looked at those in a while.
Yeah, those are some fun stats. So we'll certainly keep everybody apprised of where people are listening to us across the country. But we talked about Tyler Boone a few minutes ago, who had been on the podcast. Another guy who was just recently on our podcast was Dr. Brett Taubman, um, at Appalachian State University, heads up the fermentation program there. And you know what? You were in Germany. He came to Nashville. I got a chance to meet him in person. We actually met up for a beer at the Tailgate Brewery off of Demumbrian in downtown just recently. And man, what a great guy he was. He was with a group of friends in town for a soccer game at Geodis, and didn't get a chance to see him very long because when you're with a group of people, they're probably going to be on their way real soon. And I think the funny thing was he was staying. I knew he got in town, and I was asking him, I'm like, where, are you going to hit breweries and stuff? Sorry, it's an allergy night. Anyway, so he was staying, I believe, downtown. I asked him, I'm like, did you get to any breweries, anything like that? And I don't think he'd ever been in Nashville before, in like the downtown area, and his group of friends had been down there on Broadway. So it was funny to hear, them talking about all the chaos that goes on Broadway and downtown. But
Yeah.
he wanted to go to Edley's, said the line was too long, but he did get Prince's Hot Chicken while he
All
was in town.
right. All right. Okay. Good. He
Yeah.
got one of the staples then. Okay.
Yep, yep. So I don't think he was able. In fact, I had texted him after he had left. I know they were going to try to get to a couple of Nashville breweries, and I just don't think they were able to have time to get to any more. But it was great to meet up with them, though.
Well, that's good. I was a little jealous of that because I would have liked to met him too. And I know when he was on, or after we talked to him on the recorded with him, that he was coming, and I knew I was going to be in Germany. But maybe at some point we can meet up with him again when we head to Asheville, which is
That's
high
right.
on
We
our
had to
list.
Asheville.
We're going to stop in and see him on the way to Asheville.
We got to head to Asheville. That's right. Well, he was not the only person that I was able to meet up with when you were in Germany. You leave town, everybody comes to town. I don't know if there's a correlation there.
I think there is a correlation. They're like, thank God that guy's gone.
That's right.
Jesus.
Scott is gone. Steve's going to hang out with us. And so the
Now there's
Hill
enough beer
Tavern.
for everybody. If I leave, there's enough beer for everybody.
That's right. Our friends from Louisville, who we met up with in Cincinnati, um, Tom and Brad, the Hill Tappers, they
You weren't
came.
you weren't sick of them by the time they had come back. You weren't
I
tired of
don't.
them.
I don't think I could ever get sick of those guys. They,
They're the
they are.
best.
They are top notch. Well, they came to town. Brad's brother and sister-in-law live over in West Nashville, over in the Bellevue area. So those guys came to town. They were here on a Friday and Saturday, and I know when we're gonna have them on soon. So I'm gonna give them, we'll give them a lot of discussion about what they really did when they came into Nashville. I know when I got to meet up with them, what a fun day, because we went to Yazoo, which I don't get to go to Yazoo, or I haven't been to Yazoo for a while because it's a little bit of a distance from where I live. So anytime you can get a chance to go to a one of the better breweries in Nashville, like Yazoo, you do, right?
Yeah. You
Yep,
do go to Yazoo. Yes, it's
you
a
do
beautiful
go
place.
to Yazoo.
Yeah, it is a beautiful place. I know you had been before, but it is a great spot, isn't it? And I'm glad that that was on their radar to
Yeah,
go to because it is a highlight. If you talk about one of the nice Nashville breweries, that is a really lovely place.
they checked off a lot on their list
They're
on
like
that
us,
Friday
dude.
Saturday.
Like it's like they want to enjoy going to places, but let's knock out as many as we can too at the
Let's
same
knock
time.
them
Let's
out.
hit some good spot. Yeah, and they had been here before, so let's go to some places we hadn't been to either. We do those same kind of things too. We have staples, but we have places new that we want to go to as well.
Yeah,
So they're a lot
exactly.
like us in that
Yep.
regard.
So we started out. It was on a Saturday, and it was probably about noon or so, and we were at Yazoo for a while, and then we made our way. They had not been to the new Crazy Gnome location, and we went there. I know they really enjoyed the trek to Crazy Gnome. Kramer was working that day.
Was he? All right.
Yeah, yeah. So
Love Kramer.
yeah, got to see Kramer. So we all were there for a couple hours, and we had some great beer there. And then it was funny. And you know how I am sometimes. So whenever we go to breweries, I always do this after about 2 beers. I'll go, okay, so and so next, and it's not like I'm ready to go yet. It's just on the list because I have that list in my mind. I'm like, where are we going next? And I knew they had a list, and I said, I looked at Tom and I said, Living Waters next, and he looked at me and he goes, so when you say that, do you think we should go there? And I said, oh yeah, absolutely. I said, I will. It wasn't a warning, but I said, if you don't know about Living Waters, here's what you need to know. I said, it's not a typical brewery. It's a coffee house that meets a brewery over in East Nashville, and it's very different because you can go in there and you might see somebody over here drinking an IPA, and then the table or two next to you, you might see somebody sitting there working on a laptop, drinking coffee
With their coffee, yeah.
with their
And it's
coffee.
one of those places. It actually is one of those places where it's not like, hey, we added the coffee or we added the brewery. They go hand in hand, and they do both things very, very well.
Yeah,
And the fact that it's in East Nashville makes it work because that is very typical East Nashville kind of vibe, right?
yeah,
You can have trivia night there with it. We met Keith and Coop and
yeah,
have 400 people in line to get beer, or you can be 4 o'clock in the afternoon and sit next to a guy on a laptop
right.
writing his screenplay or whatever, drinking his coffee.
Yeah.
But
Well, my mind works that way apparently with everybody because anytime we go to a brewery, after about 2 beers and I'm not ready to go yet, sometimes I'll go, so and so next, and everybody's like, are you ready to go? No, I'm not ready to go or anything like that.
it's
It's
like,
just it's just how my mind works.
dude, can I finish my beer already?
Yeah, can I finish my beer? Come on, Steve. We're not in that big of a hurry, are we? No.
On to the next one, baby.
No.
Did they
If
like that spot? Did they
they
like
did.
Waters? Yeah, it is a cool
Yeah.
spot, and they do really good beer too. And you can, if you really want to go above and beyond at that place, start getting to that barrel aged stuff they do.
Yep. Yeah. So what I love the theme of the day, at least for this, was every place we went to has just a totally different vibe, a totally different looking space. I mean, you go from Yazoo to Crazy Gnome, and then you're going to Living Waters, and like, hey, wait a minute, we're at a very large brewery. Now we're at a new brewery that has a little more space too now. And then you're heading over to Living Waters, which is a coffee shop meets a brewery,
Yeah.
and they do really good beer. So it's kind of funny. You get the different vibe of that, and you get the different experience of that. So I thought it was fantastic.
Another thing that lends itself to how cool that place is right next door is Grimey's Record Shop.
Yeah,
Right. It again, very typical East Nashville. And that place is always buzzing. There's
yep,
always, they share a parking lot in the back, and it's always full between the two of them. And it's a very cool vibe. You see a lot of people going from one to the other because it's literally right there. They share a parking lot. And it's, again, that same kind of vibe. It's just cool, right? We're going to get some coffee and we'll get some vinyl, maybe an IPA or something at the same time. So
yeah. Well,
it's
we'll
a cool
talk
spot.
when we get them on. We'll talk a little bit more, and I will too when I get them on about some of the beers that we have. But it was great. And then after Living Waters, and I don't remember when I was at Living Waters. I slowed my roll down a little bit. I'm like, where are we going next? No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. It's not that big of a deal. We went to Black Abbey, and I don't think they had been to Black Abbey before. I know they had not been to Living Waters or Yazoo. So, man, I mean, you're hitting some of the original brewery at Black Abbey, and I know they really enjoy Black Abbey too.
They picked some good ones on their list, which they did last time they were here too. I think these were
Yep.
just ones that they didn't manage to get to before. So
Yeah.
they had some heavy hitters on their list, and I'm happy about that. Right? They're like, we want to go where you guys go, kind of thing.
Right. Right. So yeah, they had the list down, and then after that, I ended the day with them at one of our favorite breweries, and I believe they had been here before at Fayette La Force, which ironically I'm drinking tonight. So
Yes, yes. I think Fela Force for them, if I remember, this was the brewery where they had some extra time last time they were here,
yeah,
and they snuck in Fela Force and loved it so much. And this is one of those things like you and I do. We loved it so much. We were there before. We've been before. We
oh
want
yeah,
to go back. You know,
oh
because
yeah, yeah,
we love new shit. We like stuff that you've been to before too. So, yeah, we love Fela Force so much,
yeah. A lot of great
and I'm
pilsners.
glad they did.
A lot of great pilsners that they had on tap, and the bonus of Fayette La Force, Parker was there that day.
Was he?
So yeah, he came over, and I introduced him to the Hill Tappers, and they got to meet him, and we had a few minutes conversation about them being in town, and liking his brewery and things like that. So it was great to see Parker too there that day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's cool to
Yeah,
see him. Yeah, he's a
yeah.
good dude.
So yeah, we're gonna have the Hill Tappers on our podcast real soon, and that is going to be a very fun episode. People get ready to laugh. I have a
Oh yeah.
feeling that there's going to be a lot happening on that podcast. We're going to have
It,
a lot of
it won't
inside
be a
jokes.
it won't be a 4-parter because we've squashed that already on some of our other shit, but it's going to be 2 long 2-parters, I think.
Yep.
we're not going 3-parters and we're not doing 4, but it's going to be 2 very long 2-parters, I think.
And there's also a possibility that somebody involved in the Brewery Underground podcast may be part of the Hill Tappers now, and I think they're going to talk a little bit about that.
Oh, yes. Okay. I think I know who we're talking about here, but we'll save that for another day.
We may have some breaking news.
That's an episode in itself.
That's an episode, yeah. It's ever evolving. That's for sure.
Maybe it will be a 3-parter.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know what else I'm really excited about, because summer brings on a lot of beer festivals, and by the time this podcast comes out, we're almost going to be there. Preds Fest is going to be happening down at Bridgestone Arena. And I know that we are going to be meeting up with our good friends, Mitch and Rich from the Foamy Heads down there. And I'm sure that we are going to see a whole lot of other people at the Preds Fest too. I remember when I went there last year, I was like, this is such a great event and a fun event. A lot of beer, a lot of great beer drinking going to be going on.
A lot of beer. The first time we officially met those guys, we chatted with them, was at the Preds Fest last year. They were doing their thing, and we walked up and kept them from drinking beer around the thing because we kept them long. But no, it's going to be great. I think we're working on. We've got a meeting with them in a few days. We're going to work on doing some kind of thing together with them at the Preds Fest. So we'll see how that turns out and
I
what
think
we
it's
end
going to
up
be
doing.
a drinking beer collab.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think beer will be involved? Drinking?
Probably. Yeah. Some sort of beer. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's a great event too because it's in Bridgestone Arena where the Preds play, and it tends to be pretty cool in there, right? They have ice. There's ice. We don't. We walk. I think it's covered, but we walk across it, but it's spread out really nice too because it's a big arena and great beer fest. It really is. So I can't wait to bring you more.
I have not seen the entire list. Actually, I haven't even seen a list of who's going to be there. But if memory serves, last year there were a lot of national breweries certainly there, and there were some, if I'm not mistaken, from like Chattanooga and a few other places. So I'm sure they'll be back this year.
Between the 4 of us, we're going to recognize probably everybody in the place, brewery-wise. No, it's going to be a lot of fun, and more to come on that. We will have some kind of episode about that event.
Yeah,
in the not too distant future.
I know.
Looking forward to that, by the way.
I know. Well, another big festival that's coming up in September is the Family Reunion Festival at Common John Brewing in Manchester, and we have not been to it.
Nope.
But we are going.
We are going. We've had LeBron on,
who
owns Common John, and we have since talked to them a couple times in the last week or so about doing something for them and promoting them, and we going out there and doing something at the event too. So that's in September. everybody I've talked to said this event is amazing.
It's Saturday, it's September 20th, and basically they're celebrating their 5th year in business. It's their 4th craft beer festival. So, from what we understand, I mean, the who's who of people that like to drink craft beer and other craft beer owners and brewers
Yeah,
are going to be there. Now, it does sound like there's a possibility that this may be the last one that they do there,
they're
but who
toying
knows?
around with it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think they're calling it the last beer fest on Earth or something. I didn't look that up before I just
yeah.
said that, but it's something along those lines. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll
But
see. We don't want to
if it
talk about.
is, if it is, we want to be a part of it.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
but nevertheless, looking forward to getting back to Common John. I know we've had a lot of Common John beer over time, and they do such great beer. So.
such great, dude. I don't expect to leave there sober. It, 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 I'm gonna be fully drunk when I leave that event.
Oh, there you go.
It's gonna be such a good time. We're gonna know everybody out there too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, who knows? We might see there's two guys that we have known for a while, and they've been at Tenfold Brewing for a while, and
Hmm.
that's Chad Mueller and Mike Morbitzer. And we
Love
had
those
those
guys.
guys on the podcast not long ago, and they made an announcement just recently. Would you like to make that announcement on the Brewery on the Ground podcast, sir?
They are opening their own brewery. Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations, guys, because they make fantastic beer. And it was inevitable, probably. It's called Stokehouse Brewing. And they're moving into the old Crazy Gnome location, which is, I think, is 948 Main Street
Mm-hmm.
in East Nashville. And I'm so excited for these guys. And we can't wait till they open, which I think is coming, I think mid to late July, I think is what I heard. So maybe a month away, 6 weeks. Excited for them because we great guys, and we know they make great beer because we've had plenty of it.
We've had plenty of it, and
Yeah.
not only are they going to be making great beer, but they're also going to be serving food. Geez, let's see, what is big in Nashville food wise? Chicken
Yeah, maybe.
and something else.
Barbecue?
Is it barbecue?
I think barbecue's a big thing.
I see. I have seen pictures that on their Facebook page and their Instagram pages that looks like they got maybe a food truck of a barbecue that they're going to be dishing out at certain
Yeah.
times.
And if you know anything about Tenfold, whether you've been there or listened to us, they love to pair their beer with food. Tenfold's got
Love
their
it.
own kitchen and the whole thing. So it looks to me like they're doing the same thing here, as in they're going to pair their beers with different types of food that they're going to have, which is going to be unbelievable. They're going to do a great job.
Yeah, in fact, you talk about food pairings, and I'm looking on their Instagram page right now where they have posted over the last couple days about some of the beer that they're rolling out. One is going to be called the Stokehouse Reserve, which is, hey, I'm going to have to try it since I'm on the West Coast IPA tour. This is a West Coast IPA, and they're saying that this fits perfectly with fish tacos or cheddar jalapeno sausage. So, gonna have to try both.
I'm going to assume they're going to have those foods.
Gonna have those foods.
I
You
would assume
would
they
you
have them.
would think so. That's
I would
right.
hope. Yeah, yeah.
But a couple others, and it really just sounds like they're going to have a good lineup. I mean, they've posted some other things, and I'm sure they'll probably do a variety of beers. But I'm also looking at another posting for them called the Stokehouse Classic Pub Ale, which looks like it's going to be pretty good as well, and certainly some other ones. So we look forward to them opening and getting over there at some point when they open and supporting them.
Yeah, for sure. And I've already talked to Michael Stokes about this, and he was like, "That's going to be a great pregame for Preds
Oh
games."
yeah, yeah.
Because a lot of times, and we would go to Crazy Gnome and we do things, but when we're pre-gaming, we like to have places that has beer and food at the same time because somebody always needs to eat, and it's after work and that kind of thing. So they're going
Yep.
to be ideal for that because we love to spend time in East Nashville for pre-gaming because we're close by, and they're going to be hot. They're going to be priority, I think,
Yeah. Yeah.
to pre-game at.
Definitely.
So looking forward to
Well,
those guys opening up.
it's always exciting to hear about a new brewery that's going to be opening, anywhere and here in
Yeah.
Nashville. So that's great. And I just have a couple other notes, and then I know you have a couple things, and then we're going to talk about a lot of other stuff when it comes to beer. But this
Yes.
crossed the our radar the other day up in Cincinnati. Is that BrewDog is
Yeah.
closing their location up there, and I saw that. We had been to that space a couple of times. I don't know the reason. I haven't heard what the reason may be. What a great space though, and I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because of the competition up there because there are so many breweries and a lot of local breweries in that area. I mean, I remember they opened up. I think it was right before COVID because
Okay.
I'd gone in there during the whole, during the height of COVID. I was in town, and I wanted to go in there, and I think you and I had probably been there a couple of times. So hate to see that BrewDog is closed. Don't know the reason, but sometimes that just happens.
It does. We hate to see anybody close, and that's a big one. We did that. Like the place got a great rooftop too. We talk
Fantastic.
about rooftops all the time. It had a great rooftop, and it's a shame. Maybe somebody else will go in there brewery wise. Let's hope. It's
Well,
really
you
great
never
space. It's
know.
huge. The place is huge too, by the
Yeah.
way.
You never know. I mean, that's what happens. Often the case is that a place closes, and then all of a sudden they got the equipment there, they got the
Yep.
facilities there, and guess what? A new
Wait.
brewery comes in.
Uh-huh. Yes. We just talked about one, right? Crazy
Yep.
Gnome being moved somebody, and now you're about to talk about another one.
Yeah, another one. We heard this news when we were in Cincinnati on our Cincinnati trip. We
Hmm.
actually heard about this. We didn't talk about it on the Takeover podcast because it had not been made official yet. But we heard this news when we were up there, and I am so excited about this. So Braxton Brewing has taken over the Highwire location at Factory 52, which is in Norwood, just north of Cincinnati. Now, what makes me sad is the fact that High Wires had a lot of problems since the Hurricane Helene
Yes.
last year.
Yep.
I mean, it basically destroyed their production facility where they're brewing beer. The High Wire here in Nashville, that was open for a while, closed. The good thing is, and Braxton, we love you, is that not only are they taking over this location, um, they are keeping people that have worked there. So they're keeping
Yep.
the local people that work there, and they're also going to distribute and have on tap some high wire beer.
That's fantastic. I
Yeah.
love that transition. We love Highwire. I see Highwire is one of those places. We had one here, like you said, and they've got one there. I think they closed one in Charlotte. I don't see them as outsiders when I see Highwire because I've always liked their beer anyway. I see them as an addition to a beer city. That's
Yeah.
how I view Highwire. And they kind of like you said, they came in to employ people, local people, right? And they're keeping those people at Braxton, which is great.
Right.
I think they're wonderful. I think Knoxville's got a great location too. Hopefully they stick around. Anyway, that building is amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah.
Another rooftop building and that new area over there, that Factory 52 area where that rooftop, you look out over everything. It's
Oh, I
pretty
know. And
amazing.
now I'm sitting there going, you know what, Scott? I mean, we go on the Cincinnati trip. Now we may just have to go we have to spend time at Braxton and Covington because they got the rooftop. And now we may have to go to the one over Factory 52,
God
which
damn
we've
it.
been
We got to
there
go to
twice
two
anyway.
Braxtons. We have to go to two Braxtons. God damn it. I think I can do it.
Yeah.
No, it's great. They got a great location and they're going to do well. There's no doubt about it. And
Yep.
like you said, the only reason Highwire is not there is because they can't feed all their locations out of Asheville. It just hurt them so much. So
I know.
it's a shame, but we still love Highwire and we'll continue to. And I like that Braxton's going to have Highwire on in the building too. So
Yep.
hats off to both of them.
supporting the breweries no matter where they are. We want
Agreed.
everyone to succeed. So,
Agreed.
man, that's a few things that I had. What else do you have, my friend?
Well, I got a few things, and I actually took your inspiration, or took the inspiration from you, and you had written down some local stuff, and I go, I knew some local stuff too. So I think it's a good intro. Our friend Eric Latham, who is the president of the Tennessee Brewers Guild and the owner of Johnson City Brewing out of Johnson City, Tennessee, he's walking across Rhode Island next week to raise money for St. Jude.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the first time he's done this. He's walked across Tennessee, and he's walked from Nags Head, North Carolina to San Francisco, which is basically, which not basically, which is ocean to ocean.
He's got some
And it's
good
to
beef.
raise, he's got some good feet and some motivation, man.
Yeah, that too.
But he does it all to raise money for like cancer research. And obviously, this one is for St. Jude. So we've had him on the podcast, and I won't say shame on us for not getting into that part, because we kind of ran out of time because we had so many other things to talk. But we're going to have him back on, and we're going to dive into this because he's written a couple of books about this. This guy just does this as a whole. That'd be a whole job for any of us, and he does this as something else in addition to the other things he does. So great guy. So look up Eric Latham and just support him in the cause. We've heard, I think we've talked about Harding House on this podcast a time or two.
Yep.
So Harding House Brewing is a local Nashville brewery, and they've had a location out in West Nashville. They closed. They opened up in Primitive Coffee in Nashville, like off of Nolensville Road. They're not there any longer, but they're teaming up with Best Brands, which is a local distributor, and they're distributing in town. So they're going to be in grocery stores and package stores and bars and restaurants. They're already in places like Emma Rose and Sylvan Park and Jack Brown's Edge Hill. So they're around town already. So Harding House is still here, and you can find them out in the wild. They don't have a physical location, but look for them in the wild. And again, we want to support local breweries. And
well, you're breaking news on the Brewery Underground podcast, even to me, because I didn't even know that. I was like, oh, wow. Well, good for them. Because I had only been to their location that they had a few years ago over in West Nashville once, and I really enjoyed the beer there.
Yeah.
And so good for them. I mean, hopefully this will work out for them, because I feel like they've tried to had to reinvent themselves a few times. So hopefully this business plan works out for them.
I hope so, to keep seeing the beer. And if we can see it out in the wild somewhere, and you see it at your local bar or grocery store, pick it up. We want everybody to succeed.
Yep.
So look for Harding House. Steve, we have some friends around town. We've made some friends.
A few of them. Usually some of them come to town when you leave town, but you know. Let's go, Todd. Just kidding.
No, leave that in there. Seems to be a trend. I need to go back and look at all those visits when I leave town. But we've got some friends in town, and they're called Nashville BrewPass.
Yes, fine people.
Fine people. We went to an event that we talked about a couple of months ago at Tenfold Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an event where if you just registered, all you had to do was register with Nashville BrewPass. You didn't have to buy anything, just register with them. You could get a free flight when you went to Tenfold, and we did that. They're doing another event at Jackalope, which is now called Bar Jackalope, on July 2nd. And it's another free flight.
Yes.
At Jackalope. All you have to do is register. Now this one's a little more limited than they had at Tenfold. So get your registration in, get it done, and you can bring a friend. Just tell the friend to register. All they got it's all you got to do is register and show up.
That's all you got to do. And if the event at Jackalope, Bar Jackalope, is as good at Tenfold, then everybody's on the right track. Because I can tell you, when they had that event at Tenfold, that place was absolutely packed. Their table was packed from people registering, wanting to get involved in the Nashville BrewPass. So I'm very, very glad that they're having success, and it sounds like they're on the right track as well.
On the right track, and getting involved with local breweries, getting in with them and talking to them, and getting us involved, not us specifically, but the local community. So get registered. Go to Bar Jackalope. Unfortunately, we can't be there because we're recording that night.
Yeah,
But we want everybody else to be there.
that's right.
Or at least
Everybody go there.
everybody else go there. Look, if it wasn't for recording, we don't pass up free beer. So it's not
I
like
know it. I know it.
it's free beer. So anyway, that's a great event. Follow Nashville BrewPass. We love them. We've met them a couple times. Really good people. And they've got some additional events coming up. They've not posted them yet. But also, if you have the Nashville BrewPass, and you and I do, the booklet, the little passport,
Yes, sir.
they've got some additional deals that they've added to it. So, and I'm not going to get into specifics here, but just follow their social media. But they've got additional things at Black Abbey and Picnic Tap and Tenfold and Nashville Barrel Company, which is a whiskey place.
Yeah.
So whether it's buy one get one free or half off, or buy 3 on a flight at Nashville Barrel Company, and get a 4th free. They've got all these things, so it's so worth it. It's so
worth it, and it's so much fun. And they're getting people involved with themselves and with breweries, and so hopefully at some point we're going to get them on the podcast to really talk more about how this idea for them came about, how it's going, and really what their plans are for the future, because it sounds like what they've got a lot of great plans down the road.
Yeah, again, they're tying into the local community and the local breweries, which I love to see. So hats off to them. Keep it going. We're here to support you guys. Honey Tree Meadery.
Honey Tree Meadery. Yes.
We love Drew and Ross. We love those guys. We love Honey Tree Meadery. They just turned 6 years old back in May. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We were probably out being selfish and drinking in another state, probably. I'm pretty sure. But they turned 6 back in May. Bad Luck Burger Club, who is the food truck that sits out front of their place, turned 4 back in May.
All right.
And the reason I'm saying why are you talking about May? Well, they're just celebrating now. They've been busy. They're busy guys. They got a lot going on. So by the time this comes out, it would have already happened. But this upcoming Saturday, June 21st, they are celebrating their anniversaries and their birthdays. So
all right.
I hope you guys, if you heard this, I hope you've been out there. Congratulations to Honey Tree and Bad Luck Burger Club. We love those guys.
Yeah, Honey Tree Meadery, if I'm not mistaken, the Nashville Scene, a local publication, I'm pretty sure that they were rated like the best brewery in Nashville in a reader's poll this past year.
Best bar in Nashville.
Okay,
yes.
Best bar.
And I think best patio too, because that patio is amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
We love those guys. Any chance we can get to support those guys, we're in.
We do. Yep.
And my last little local news, Marble Fox. We love Marble Fox. John and John, they've been on this podcast.
Yes, they have.
We love them. They're turning 2. 2 years old.
Turning 2, yeah.
They're turning 2 years old, and they're celebrating this Saturday as well, June 21st. So, if anybody can make both events, Marble Fox and Honey Tree, you've done something. I'm hoping to sneak in both places, at least for a tad places. But anyway, happy birthday to Marble Fox. Big fans of them. We love them.
Well, happy birthday. And I'll tell you, Marble Fox is killing it. We know that they have gotten really aggressive in their canning business too. And I think that's a really big thing for breweries when they're doing that. And I was just telling you today, I was at a beer and wine store here in Rutherford County, and it's the first time I have seen Marble Fox on the shelf there, and I was like, good for them. There's another place near me that I've seen their beer a couple of times. Now all I need to do, Rutherford County, Tennessee, where I live, can you get some mix and match? Can you get the mix and match? Can you do it?
You deserve it, Steve. You
need
it after the way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll buy a 4-pack. I'll buy a 6-pack of Marble Fox because it's great beer. But sometimes you like to mix and match stuff too.
Can I get a little bit of Jackalope? Can I get a little bit of Marble Fox? Can I get whatever? You want me to bring them all home. You can't bring 16 home.
Work with me here. It's not that big of a deal.
Right. But no, that's I'm glad to see, because I know, and we've talked about this at least amongst us. They've got a distributor that they've signed.
Yes.
within the last couple of months. So that must be helping that cause, right? Getting
Oh,
them
I would
out
think so. Yeah.
into these
Yeah.
in these places. So good to see, man. We love those guys.
Yeah, happy anniversary to Marble Fox celebrating 2 years. It actually seems like it's longer than that. It seems like they've been around a lot longer, but they have really made an impact in here in the Nashville area in a very short period of time.
Yeah, and listen to that episode honestly because John Jr. is amazing, and he
Yeah.
dives into which really was our not the whole interest, but talking about the peanut butter and jelly stuff, the
Mm-hmm.
no crust stuff they do, talk
Yeah.
diving into that. He talks about that and all the with ideas and stuff. It's a really great interview, John, because John was wonderful.
I might be talking about one of their beers in a few minutes.
Really? Okay.
Could be.
Let's
Could
see.
be. Hey, but speaking of beer, we
Okay.
teased in the beginning of this podcast. Prost. You just
Prost.
went. You just went to Germany.
Yes.
Talk about your beer experience in Germany.
Okay. I'm not going to bore you with every single thing because it was
Thank
8
God.
days. You've heard enough already.
Yeah, I know.
No, it was Germany and Austria is where we went, and it was fantastic. And I say it's fantastic. I had nothing to do with the planning. I just went along for the ride. But whoever I know who planned it, but it was fantastic. And I'm only going to kind of
Our
touch on.
friend, not to interrupt, our friend Chris Finnan, who's been on the podcast.
Yeah,
You went with him. You went with
Yep.
some other folks. He actually has some cousins over there in Germany, right?
Yes, he does. He does. So he actually went a couple days before we went, so he could visit family and stuff. And his family owns a cheese factory over there, like a legitimate big time cheese factory. No, I didn't get to go. I didn't get any cheese. I didn't bring it back any beer either.
How do we get some cheese?
I don't know. They're gonna have to ship it because I don't think you can find it here.
Right.
But I haven't had any either. But anyway, yeah, we spent 8 days, full days in between Munich, Traunstein, and Salzburg, Austria. Fantastic time. Everywhere you look is beautiful. We went to places like there's a place. Day one, we went to like a place called it was a place called Deershore, but it's spelled DERPSCHORR. And if you've ever seen the brand Hacker Shore,
mm-hmm.
that's them. That's half of the brand, the beer brand. So this was a tavern. First place we stopped at, wandered in. And after talking to tour guides throughout the trip, they're like, man, you have to go to this place. It's so wonderful. And I'm like, we already went. We didn't know it was that great.
Right.
It kept getting recommended to us as to go to this place. So that was a really good place. We went and had some food and some beer. And I'll tell you, Steve, we talked about this earlier in the podcast. They do about 4 styles over there. And
sure.
don't get on my, people don't get on my shit for, they do more than that, but just kind of basically 4 styles you kind of get over there. It's like lager, Keller beer, Dunkel, and Weisses. That's where you're going to get everywhere.
I think you might find a Helles over there.
Yeah, yes, which is a lager, right? Helles lager.
Yeah.
Yes, there's all sorts. So there's, you don't go anywhere and you don't get flights. There might be places around, but you don't go to your traditional places, and it's certainly not in Munich. You do not go to a place and get flights, and you don't get sour fruiteds, and you don't get.
Well, that was going to be one of my funny questions. Of you probably aren't going to go into a brewery in Germany and see like, oh, they have a PB&J strawberry fruited over there. That's not them. That's not Germany. No. Germany is traditional, old school. We have been old school beer for centuries. We are the home of Oktoberfest beer.
Yep.
And we are sticking with that realm. We're not going into all this other kind of stuff.
No, they make a good product, and they all do. You can talk about the 6 in Munich, or you can talk about some others outside of it, Yeah. But that traditional, and we know this, and the more I was over there and the more I was drinking the German beer, the more I was thinking about Nashville Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can't wait to have some since I've been back in that same tradition. They brew their beer in the same tradition and with the ingredients that they get from Germany, too.
Yeah.
To be that. So such an appreciation for you. You go into a place not all this way, but you go into a place and they might have 3 beers on the menu. It's
So
not
it's not
60.
really, so it's not an area at all, anywhere you went, that it would be considered anything that's considered craft beer.
No. No. I found at one of the grocery stores, I found 2 beers that were not part of that traditional German beer. And I found an amber ale
Okay, yeah.
and I found a New England IPA, both made by Austrian breweries.
Okay, yeah.
And I think it was, hey, but they were just like from the grocery store, and I bought a single of each. So, but that was it. Like everywhere if you were getting a draft, or you were going to a bar, or you were going somewhere local, you weren't getting anything outside of. No, the brands might differ. You might get a Hofbrauhaus or an Augustiner, or
Sure.
the Deer Shore, or a few others, but that's what you were getting.
Yeah.
But to say that, I still had 49 new beers over there in a week. So, so there was a lot of variance within them, because you can get different dunkels from different manufacturers or different breweries, and you can get different Hellas's and some variations on a few of them. But man, it was amazing. Like it was still.
Did you find like many of the breweries that you went to over there? Do they call them breweries?
Yeah, like Hofbrauhauses, like or Hofhouses, or Brauhauses or something. Yes, yeah, but yeah.
So I don't know if you go over there if they actually refer to it as a brewery. It's a Hofbrauhaus more as a terminology. But if you go over there and you walk into many of the places, it's probably very older buildings, that sort of thing. You're not going in and it's like some corporate feel or anything like that. It's very much the older style of what you would expect, right?
It is. The tap room themselves are kind of modern, but yes, the buildings are very old.
Yeah.
I will say a lot of the manufacturing, and some of them that we went to were breweries, they said. But I think that the big time manufacturing on some of these is outside of Munich a little bit, like the big, the big production stuff. But they're still, because you have to be in Munich to be part of Oktoberfest. So you have to be, you have to have a presence. So, but yes, like for instance, Hofbrauhaus, Traunstein, or Hofbrauhaus. I guess I don't know if that was the first one or Munich was the first one, but 1615. It was started in the year 1615.
Wow, amazing!
The damn thing is 400 years old,
and they are basically still serving the beer on this day in 2025 that they did when they first started.
Right. They probably had one. I think Hofbrauhaus started with like the Weiss beer, like a wheat, and they've added things along the way. Nothing too crazy. You're not going to get a peanut butter and jelly sour in there, but you're going to get a Helles Lager or a Dunkel or something along those lines. So
yeah, you're basically not going to walk in there and see, like if you went to like for the comparison here, a lot of the sours that you may get into like a Southern Grist. You're not going to get that there.
No, not at all. Now, again, outside of Munich, and we didn't go outside of Munich other than Traunstein in Salzburg, but Berlin may have something. I don't know about the rest of the country, but this area we were in was straight traditional and very traditional, and I understood it, and I got it, and I had no problem.
Yeah. It's that old saying, "When in Rome." You go over there and you're like, this is what they have. This is what you're going to do. And this is what you're going to expect. But you appreciate it because there is centuries upon centuries of history of the beer and the tradition.
Yeah. And it's everywhere. It's like I had brands like Lowenbrau and Paulaner. Lowenbrau's been around.
Oh my God. I haven't heard anybody say Lowenbrau in years. Yeah.
I know, but over here, think, oh, maybe that was a cheap beer at one time, but it's a traditional beer over there.
Sure,
it's Lowenbrau. It's and Augustiner, and there's I think there's 6 in Germany that are part of Oktoberfest. Just great experience, and again, everywhere you went, you could walk into a pub or a bar, and they would have a new beer, even though it was kind of the same style. It would be a different beer from a different brewery. So I was able to get, because again, and the reason I say that is because how I drink beer. I like new shit all the time.
Oh yeah.
Not that I didn't have some duplicates, but everywhere I went, I had something new somewhere, whether it was an Italian restaurant or a Mexican restaurant where we're sitting on the street ordering beer. There was something new everywhere. So
Sure.
now here's the thing. I didn't rate anything over a 4, and that's not a knock. That's not a knock at all.
Sure.
But I didn't rate anything under, say, a 3.6 either.
Yeah.
There's a range, right? It's everything stays right here.
Yeah.
At least for me, and the dumb American that goes over there. But I love the beer, and everything was wonderful. Maybe it's my palate, maybe it's what I'm used to. People over there might. But I will tell you this: when I'm checking in things on tap and some of these old styles, like a low and brown stuff, I'm still rating when I'm rating a 3.8 or a 3.9 or 3.6 higher than the overall average in every case.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
And some of these beers have tens of thousands of check-ins because they've been around so long.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I'm guessing they're hovering around 3.4, 3.5 at best.
At best, yeah.
And I don't know if that's just is that locals checking in a different system than we do over here. Whatever that thing is, but everything I rated was much higher than the overall rating.
Yeah.
In Untapped for those beers. So anyway, with that being said, one of the coolest things though, Germany and Austria.
Yeah.
You buy a bottle of beer and you buy it in a restaurant or you buy it at the grocery store, you take it anywhere you want to take it.
Ah, all right.
Uh-huh. You walk out with it.
Walking down the street.
Walk down the street, hop on a train.
Beer. Yeah.
Yes. Hop on a train, which we took many of them. You always had to have a train beer, maybe for the return trip as well. They sold singles, but they had like a cooler, like you walk in with singles because of that reason, right? You just grab a half a liter or something and just take it with you. And a cool thing was you don't throw the bottles away. You put them, like if you had a public transport, or not public transport, like a public trash can.
Yeah.
You don't throw them away. You put the glass bottles on the ground next to them.
Oh, love it. Yeah.
And there might be a dozen of them around there. If somebody comes by and recycles them and picks them up, you don't throw them away. So that was kind of cool. Man, I'll give you a few more stats. I won't bore you with every single day of what we did, but we experienced a couple of beer gardens.
Yeah.
Augustiner was amazing. Massive place. We went one day and it was raining, so we kind of went in this covered area, and we went back a couple of days later, and I saw the beer garden. I was like, it seemed to go on for miles. It was massive. So that was cool. We saw the Hofbrauer House. We did that. Their beer garden, amazing.
Yeah, and that's the original Hofbrauer House, right?
Yeah, Munich is the original.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to, because when Selena sent me the voucher and told me some places to check out at the brewery, we didn't get to go to them. Like they have an upstairs and they have these other areas that we didn't quite get to. But yeah, that's the biggest one, is the Munich one. And
I wonder how long that building is. I mean, are they in the original building or not? I mean, I'd be curious to know about even that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. We didn't get that far into that one, but man, I'll tell you what.
Tradition though, a lot of tradition.
The place never let up. We went in there and we got a seat because it's massive. You just keep walking and walking until you find a spot.
Yeah,
and we did. It never let up. It was there. It was, if a table cleared, somebody else came in. It was incredible.
Yeah, I'll bet so. I mean, it has to be such a major tourist attraction. And when you say major tourist attraction, but also just for the locals there, where you're going, where you want to go get beer today? Well, let's go to Hofbrauer House. I mean, what else is going to stand out than that from your experience over there?
Yeah, and legitimate food, like it was real food, like real German food. So
definitely.
I'll tell you what. The second time we went to Augustiner, the beer garden, it was so busy because, again, the first time we went, it was raining, so it was kind of concentrated. The second time we went back, completely wide open. They gave you a mug. They didn't ask you what size you wanted, and they didn't ask you what beer you wanted. They gave you the mug, and you stood in line, and they poured you a beer, and you went and sat down.
Oh, nice.
It's this constant stream of people just coming through. They didn't give a shit if you wanted a dunkel or that. You got what you got.
Right.
Kind of what you got.
And
we were happy to get it. It was awesome. So it was cool. Great experience. And I will tell you this. I picked up 4 full liter Steins.
Yeah.
Full.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying I couldn't do more. I only had access to 4 at any one time. But I do know that I can pick up 4 full Steins of beer.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I would have tried more, but nobody else would give me their glasses. So I can only take two.
Well,
Chris
you
also
may
picked
have
up
to get
the
into that competition that they have every year then around Oktoberfest season at Blackstone. Here.
yeah.
Maybe you and Scott Murdy could test your Stein drive there.
I saw that go down. That's a long distance trip.
Right.
That's a long-term commitment. I don't want a part of that one.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
But anyway, I'll give you a few more little things and we'll move on from this because, again, 8 days. I don't want to bore everybody with this. But 49 new beers, all full beers, no flights. They were either half liters or full liters. 67 total check-ins.
Ooh.
94. This is 8 days. So compared to our numbers in Cincinnati and Cleveland, these are they pale in comparison. But again, full beers every single time.
Full beers, yeah.
Yep. 30 new venues, 94% new venue ratio, 7 beers per day, 73% new beer ratio because I had a couple of times. So last couple of things, we averaged, I'm not kidding, 7 miles a day walking.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And that's with taking local trains and trains.
Getting your steps in.
Get your steps in, kind of walking to the place. And then when you get to a destination, you're kind of walking around and sightseeing and all this. 7. We have our Brewery Underground podcast stickers and the yeast infection stickers plastered everywhere.
You posted a lot of pictures out there on Instagram and Facebook. So, yep, we're now international.
International. In 2 locations, we're at 5,900 feet, by the way.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
1,800 meters up. So we're all over the place. I'm going to put a montage social media post out about all their sticker posts. So anyway, we also brought a bottle of Buffalo Trace over there because I wasn't sure how the whiskey scene was going to be, and I'm glad we did. We killed that bottle off. So
my favorite.
Yeah. So we didn't have that to bring back. So anyway, one other thing, maypoles. If you've ever seen a maypole, every city has got these maypoles. Steve, you've seen them. It's these giant poles that go up. They go vertical.
Okay.
And they have these branches that come off. And later on, look up at what a maypole is. They have these branches come off. And they have these things that represent businesses within that little town or that little city.
Yeah.
So, and there's some stories about in some of these towns where people would steal the maypole and they would ransom them off for beer. So like one story, and I forget where it was, the police stole the maypole and they didn't know it until they called the police the next day and said, hey, someone stole our maypole. And we go, yeah, we have it. We want 24,000 liters of beer. So it's a fun thing. And I'm going to have a maypole here in the States too. I think there are a few around the countries anywhere, but look up maypole because it's a cool thing. Anyway,
we'll do it.
That's my Germany trip. There was so much more, but shit, man, I could go on for days.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that you were able to share that, and hopefully you can get back there sometime.
Yeah, great experience, and I can't wait to get over and have some, which is high on the list. Again, Nashville Brewing beer while it's still kind of fresh, and do that comparison. Maybe just continually have some of that, that German style stuff.
Yeah, I already mentioned the Germany trip, so I'm like,
you're still glad.
I don't know what I'm glad about. Okay. Well, Scott, the one of the things we teased at the beginning of this podcast is that we were going to talk about and rate our top 5 new beers of 2025 and top 5 new breweries for the year as well. It's the midway point of the year.
Yeah. I know. And normally we do top 10.
Yeah.
But we had so much other content this time. I think 5 is appropriate. Plus, it's only halfway, right?
That's right. And we'll have a top 10 list at the end of the year. And it's going to be hard. This year is going to be hard.
I know.
It's going to be hard.
It's going to be hard. And hell, the 5 were hard, honestly.
5 were hard. Yeah. 5 were hard. Oh yeah. 5 were hard. But this is my list. So this is my top 5 new beers for 2025. I am going to start at number 5. So my number 5 beer of the year, the 5th beer of the year.
Your number 5th beer?
Yeah. Okay. Let me start that over again.
I like that, though. I'll leave that in.
Yeah. So on the top 5 new beers of 2025, coming in at number 5, Tripping Animals Brewing out of Doral, Florida. This was the sixth trip around the sun Imperial Double New England IPA. This was sent to me by our buddy Nick Rotruck in West Virginia from the Hop In We're Drinking podcast. And I'm sure Ashley also had a hand in sending us to. I have rated this a 4.25.
Wow. That's a
Yes.
great beer. Outstanding.
There's a lot of 4.25s I had that maybe they could have come in, almost a tie this year. But there's certain things you rate to and it's good and you give it a rating. But there's certain ones too that you get and you go, I remember where I was and how I felt when I drank this beer. So that
because you're not rating them all at the same time. So when you go back and look at your rating and you're like, oh, that's a 4.25 and that's a 4.25, but that, like you said, that one stands out. That gets the nod for sure.
That gets the nod. All right.
Uh-huh.
Well, number 4 is actually a tie, and it has to be an equal tie. And
can we ever just do a top 5 or top 10 that's just 5 or 10? We can never do that, can we?
No, and this is my list, so
I do the same thing. That it's never just the number.
Yeah, this is my list, so hey, take it. It's a tie for number 4.
That's right. You can do whatever you want.
I'm doing whatever I want. I'm cheating, but it's my list, so I'm only cheating on myself. So there you go. All right. So when I do later this year, when we have an episode or part of an episode of the West Coast IPA tour, there are 2 West Coast IPAs, and we talked about this on the Cincinnati Takeover edition, that are a tie for me, and that is Brink Brewing, Cincinnati, their Hoperatic IPA, and that's the very first West Coast IPA that I've ever rated at a 4.25 on Untappd. But then a day later, Esoteric's Bellevue Hill IPA, also I had, and I went, yeah. And I'll tell you what, when I had that thing, I was like watching the hops through the glass, and I'm going, this thing is really awesome too. So that was also rated a 4.25 on Untappd. And we get Esoteric on here very soon. I'm going to be talking to them very soon. I'm going to be talking to them about some of these beers. So
yeah, I was excited for you. You back to back, like you went into this West Coast thing. You're like, ho hum, I found some good stuff, and then bam, you found 2 back to back, which was like, holy shit, they do exist.
They do exist. Oh my gosh, who knew in my life? I'm so excited.
I love it. I feel like this is a better summer tour this year than you had last year.
Yeah, it's a little more spice. Yeah, I got a little more oomph than the cider and seltzer tour last year.
Yeah, I think you might actually be enjoying this one.
Still looking for a seltzer that I'd like to have that I could actually rate high. Yeah. Well, okay. Hey, coming out at number 3 on my list, top new beers for 2025. Man, I have to go with Fable Brewworks, Erlanger, Kentucky.
Ooh.
Talked about this one. The Curious Coconut Mead, rated that a 4.50, and also had like that had coconut and banana in it. It was curious, and I did mention that. So for people that maybe didn't hear the Cincinnati Takeover edition and are going, you really rated that high? It comes with an asterisk. I got it on a flight. There is no way I could get that anything else. Any other way. It would have to be on a flight.
Yeah, no pint for you on that one?
No.
No, but that's perfect, because if you had a pint, you might not have given it a higher rating at the end of it, and not for any fault of the beer or the mead in this case, but some things just get to be a bit too much.
It does, and there may have to be a different podcast category one day of what are our best flights.
Yeah,
maybe we could have a different beer category on what's your favorite flights and what's your favorite pints and half pours and things like that. I don't know.
Well, but this shined in a flight for you.
It did,
which is perfect, right? Maybe it's how it was meant to be.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And this shows how all over the place I am with my beer taste. I mean, I've got double IPAs, I've got West Coast, I've got the Curious Coconut Mead, and now at number 2, we mentioned him a few minutes ago, And I just recently had this, and you gave it to me in can. It is Marble Fox, the no crust strawberry sour fruited that I ranked as a 4.50. And you know what? This thing is as good as the Southern Grist peanut butter and strawberry jelly hill that I've had over the years.
Wow.
And that is very, very, very high altitude category. So
Yes, because I know how much you love that Southern grist.
I did, and
Yeah.
you know what? A lot of the PBJs and things like that. I mean, we've talked about a lot of them. I mean, we've had a lot of different ones. In fact, last night, I had the peanut butter and jelly turbo shandy
Yeah.
from Hop and Frog Brewery. I know you had it. Um, that thing was different. I liked it. Had it in the 16-ounce can. Again, there are certain ones that you go, I'd rather have this on a flight. I texted you and I said, yeah, this one would be more
Yeah.
flight worthy than
It's
16-ounce can worthy.
it's a lot in 16 ounces.
It's a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That there's nothing wrong with that thing. I think the shandy, what you just talked about, like that marble fox is an ale, right? It's a different. So maybe the shandy adds a little different perspective to the
It
peanut butter.
might.
Yeah.
And I don't think if I have made this comparison on a podcast episode before, I can't remember if I have, but I kind of compare some of these to the fact that let's say you go into a restaurant and you order a dessert like one of those molten lava cake desserts, they come out and it's filled with chocolate and this and big cake, and you eat about half of it and you go, I can't get through the rest of this. And that's my comparison.
That's good. It could be like in that case with the dessert, it's too rich, right? It's just too much. I love it, but if
It's
I
too
eat the rest
much.
of this, it's ruined for me. I'm going to ruin the
I can't
thing.
do this. No, it's like my stomach is going to explode if I have any more. And we've all been there before. And it doesn't mean it's terrible. It just gets to
Right.
the point where it's way too much. Maybe it's way too much for your palate. And that's what some of these beers are for me. But I'll tell you what, again, the Marble Crust, no crust, Marble Fox, no crust, no crust. I'm gonna start that over again. The Marble Fox no crust strawberry sour fruited, man, they nailed it, and they certainly nailed that for me.
That's awesome. Going back to your reference about the dessert, you get a dessert like that marble the chocolate cake,
Yeah.
and you eat the thing by yourself. It's too much. It's like getting a pint of something that can be too much.
Yeah.
But you ever get a dessert, if you got that same dessert and you had 4 or 6 forks with the people you were around and you all had a
Oh yeah.
piece of it, that's your flight comparison.
Oh yeah.
And it's perfect. It's we know what it is. It's great, and I've got just the right amount of it.
Yeah, but I don't want to be in like a diabetic coma in an hour.
No, no, that's
Sitting
right.
somewhere on the couch going, "Oh
Right.
my God, what has happened to me now? Because I ate too much of that." So yeah.
Let's have a smaller version of it, hence the
Thank
flight.
you. Thank
Uh-huh.
you. All
Yes,
right.
I do.
So 2025, my number one beer so far, and you were with me the night we had this. We were actually out. It was you, me, and Rich from the Foamy Head.
Mhm.
We got this on tap at Mr. Brews in Murfreesboro. Common John, the Belgian Strong Dark Ale, which I think was like 8.9%. Um, I loved it. I do remember that night after having it, and then having another beer, and I went, maybe I should have stopped. Because you talk about strong, it was
Yeah.
strong. But damn, it was good. And that one gets my highest ranking so far. Even though I ranked the Marble Fox at 4.50, the Common John stands out a little bit more
Yeah.
for me on that. So I also ranked that at 4.50. So
Yeah, I understand. And the fact that you said that you remembered it is kind of
oh
surprising
yes.
because it was because we'd had a few beers that night. We went to Casual Pint before that with Rich, and then we went over here had a couple. And I remember that beer too, and it was amazing.
Thank God that night Uber got me home and got me home safely. No, it was a fun night, yes.
Yeah, and for you, you were at Murfreesboro, so that was at least a shorter ride for you than normally is.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
that far. It wasn't that far.
yeah,
So
in Laverne. So that's a really good list, man. Like you said, you're kind of. I won't say all over the place. You're very diverse in your styles. And I think that's what makes a good beer drinker.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
So, how's your list going there, sir?
Oh, God, I'm still working on it. No, I'm kidding. Okay. So, what did we start with? We start with beers?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We start with beers. Okay. All right. Okay. So, I have a top 5 list of beers as well. And just like you, I couldn't make it just 5. That's why I made the joke.
Hang on. Sorry.
Freaking
allergies, man. Go ahead.
Just like you, I couldn't make it just 5. I could have gone to 10.
Can I say something? I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I have to go back to my top 5 new beers for 2025. I have an honorable mention that I forgot to mention.
Mention it.
Okay, my honorable mention, because last year I rated our friends in Cleveland, Great Lakes Brewery. By the way, we still have a certain thing out there about Great Lakes. Little petition drive, right?
Yeah, when are they coming to Tennessee?
Yeah, when they coming? Earlier this year, last year I rated the Great Lakes Vivacious Double IPA a 4.25. And that was my top 10 list last year. Earlier this year, I had it again. And I took it up a notch to 4.50. So that is an honorable mention for me since I already had it. So it's not exactly a top 5 new beer for 2025, but I also think it gets a special mention and an honorable mention, and deservedly so.
It is a wonderful beer.
It's a wonderful beer.
It's also your list. You can do anything you want to with it.
Dang right.
You can list it 5 times if you want to.
Don't hate me, beer people. Don't hate me. It's my list. All right.
It is a wonderful, wonderful beer.
I know. Now back to your list.
All right. Okay, my top 5 beers, which is really 6. I'm gonna start with 5, but I'm gonna call it 5A, which is really 6. But in the because we said it was gonna be top 5, it's 5. And the reason I put it on because I couldn't have a list without Burial on it, so I had to make room for it. Anyway, 5A, aka 6. It's called I Hope This Is the End Game by Burial Beer Company. It's an Imperial Stout. It was 14%, and I gave it a 4.6 on Untapped. So
14%.
Yes, and that's number 5A, if you will.
Oh my gosh. 5A.
5A.
Maybe it should be 5A plus.
Yeah, I know. How do you top that even? Well,
I don't know. How do you do it? How
do you top that? Because number 5 is called Heady Topper.
Oh.
And believe it or not, I've only had it. I know a lot of people have had this beer before. I had it for the first time this year. And not that long ago, my buddy Steven got it for me when he was up there and he brought it back. It's from The Alchemist. It's a double IPA, 8%. And it's 100 IBUs. And the reason which is awesome. And I know there are beers out there with more IBUs than that. The 100 is pretty freaking high. You hardly ever see it posted, especially on Untapped. You hardly ever see IBUs on Untapped. It's at 100. I wrote 100 down because it's a big number.
Right.
Anyway, and it's a great beer, and it's been around a while, but it's one of those Pliny-like beers where people have to have it, and rightly so. Yes, and rightly so. It's amazing. If you love hoppy shit in the double IPA, this is perfect. And I gave it a 4.6. Same rating as the Burial, but kind of like you said, I had to put one above the other for whatever reason. So anyway, number 4, PB&J Mixtape.
Oh, look out.
But the Blackberry.
Blackberry.
I love the Blackberry. It's the tartness or something that goes with it that just makes it not as sweet. It's from Zool out of Knoxville. Everybody knows who that is. 6.5%. It's a fruited sour. 4.8 on Untapped. I gave it 4.8. It's hard to get higher than that. Steve. It's hard.
I know, but you know what? Are we taking it up a notch?
I'm taking it up a notch because apparently I've got 3 more to go. So something rated higher than that, even.
What is number 3?
You can number 3, and we've talked about this a couple of times, but I had it for the first time this year, so it qualifies. KBS double oaked, and
Wow.
Big Rich with the foamy heads can appreciate this because I think I wear him out every time I talk to him. I'm like, hey, double oaked, Great. Anyway,
it's the KBS break.
The double oaked again. KBS double oaked Imperial Stout, 12%er, lovely. Founders Brewing Company, one of our favorites.
One of our favorites. I have yet to have the double oaked, and I have to get it. No, I have not had that one.
Oh, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
I've had some of the others of the KBS. I've had 2 or 3, but I have not had yet the KBS double oaked. I have not found it, so I'm gonna have to have one.
I'm gonna get you one.
Okay.
Founders Brewing Company. And the only reason we're not pushing for them to get to Tennessee is because they're already here.
That's right. They're already here.
We love Founders.
I know
love Founders. Yes. 4.8 on tap. So it matches the Zool, the PB&J, but that double oak just does something else completely to me. So anyway, that was number 3. Number 2.
Yes.
Number 2. 35th anniversary barrel aged Imperial Amber Lager. That's the name of the beer.
Oh my gosh.
35th anniversary barrel aged Great Lakes Brewing Company.
Great Lakes?
Do you think I could leave something off of this list that wasn't Great Lakes? Great Lakes has to be on this list.
Come on, Great Lakes.
Another 4.8. Again, it just stood out even more than the Founders.
It would be so fantastic if we could get that beer here in Tennessee too. Maybe
would it be great?
Yes. Sign the petition, people. Sign that petition.
We'll keep striving.
We're gonna
4.8 on tap. 12.1% ABV. So do have a theme here. I think you're kind of like this too. I like the higher ABV stuff in a lot of cases. Not every case, but a lot of cases. Number 1. I don't think anybody will argue with this. And I'm lucky enough. As a matter of fact, my buddy Steven gave me 2 on this list. And this is the other one. Pliny the Younger. Not the elder, the younger. I had a Pliny the Younger this year. And he went to the Pliny the Younger event out there in California, and he brought it back.
Right.
I gave it a 5, a perfect 5. I don't give out those very often.
So I know.
A perfect 5. It's Russian River Brewing Company. We all know that. Triple IPA, 10.25%, and it was absolutely fabulous.
All right. And for the record, for the people that they probably have heard us so many times talk about our rating system. Yes, we are basing this off Untapped, but if we were rating this like, on a scale of 1 to 10, that would be a 10.
Still be a 10, yeah.
If you were rating it like, like we did in school, like, an A, a B, a C, a D, you would rate that an A plus.
Right. As 5 is the highest, right?
5 is the highest.
It's like scoring 100% on a spelling test.
It is. So we're
also, we'll have a conversation probably when the foam or the Hill Tappers come on about the Sully scale, but that's another.
The Sully scale.
All together.
Right. Well, everybody has their different interpretations of the scale when it comes. Those that use Untapped have a different interpretation, and apparently, I guess mine has come to be the subject of a little bit of just fun laughter. Yes.
Yeah, we're going to get into that when the Hill Tappers come on.
We will. Anyway. We will. All right.
Anyway, we've got another list because we love some damn lists, don't we?
We love our lists. All right, here we go. The top 10. I'm sorry. The top 5. I'm getting ahead of myself. Tune back at the end of the year. We're going to have to do a top 10. Top 5 new breweries so far for 2025. Let me tell you something. This list is so freaking hard. I mean, I thought about this. I thought about everything. I thought about where I was, what I was doing, the company I was with, why I went, the beer. I factored in so many different things. And this list was hard to narrow down and yikes. I haven't even put like honorable mentions or anything because
Yeah.
I would have like 12 honorable mentions. So
Fair.
here we go. All
What
right.
before you start, you said something about like the company you were with.
Yeah.
I can see your list. I was with you on every one of these, so I
You
hope
were.
whether it knocked it down or built it up, I was with you on every single one. So just for the record.
Just
Yeah.
for the record, that is true. There were some others. In fact, I'm gonna even say who was with me on these. All right.
Yeah, no, there
So
actually, you're right. You're right. There were other people too. So
yes, but that's okay. You get a lot of credit. I was there too. So Hoppin' Frog in Akron, you and I were both there.
loved it.
And there were some other people there that we didn't necessarily know, but we talked to. Um, go back to our go back to our Cleveland Akron podcast. I didn't think that was that funny, but all right. Yeah, Scott's losing it over there.
I remember the guy. So go ahead.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
You're about turning purple there. You're laughing so hard.
The guy to our left is the guy I'm thinking about. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, Hoppin' Frog, Akron. You can go back to our Cleveland Takeover Edition podcast. Talked about them so much. The beer great. The brew experience great. Everything about it, the history, everything that I found out, everything that I knew beforehand, was very glad for Hoppin' Frog. So that was tough. But I had to put him down. My number 4 on the list, Narrow Path in Cincinnati, and actually in Loveland, Ohio, which is a suburb, and another great place. You were with me, and the Hill Tappers were with us. In fact, they had been there before, and they were like, you guys have got to go here."
Yeah.
And
What
so they strongly recommended.
what stood out for you for that brewery?
The ambiance of everything, the diversity of beer. I felt like I could have stayed a lot longer and got a lot more of their beer, and I didn't. I had 2 pints that day, but the fact that we sat outside in nice weather for a couple of hours. It's an area that it's a big area where they have bike paths and stuff like that, but they had so much activity
Yeah.
going on. But their patio area was so fantastic, and it was just a really fun day. So all of that stood out for me.
Yeah, we went into it in depth pretty good on the Cleveland Takeover episode, but yes, that scene that we were sitting on that day, I can remember. I'll never forget it. Just sitting out there and having good company and drinking beer. And it was just a beautiful day, and it's like we didn't want to be anywhere else. It was awesome.
No, it would be hard if you go there and you've got other things to want to do. If it's a really nice day to sit out on the patio for a long time, you could sit out there for hours and drink beer, and they also have a food truck out there as well.
Yeah.
So like, oh, by the way, there's food, but then there's also all these other little shops and restaurants right in the area. So it's a very unique area that I can't wait to get back to.
Yeah, perfect spot, just perfect.
Perfect. All right. Well, number 3 is Hoppin' River North in East Nashville. We went to one of the openings. I was there with you, and there were a lot of people that were there that night that we went to.
You can't get away from me.
That's true. You're everywhere. Michael Stokes was there. His wife was there. Calvin showed up. Rich from the Foamy Heads. I may be missing people, but there were a whole lot of people that were there that night. So Hoppin' River North, love that place. I mean, I would say to anybody, go. They have like 60 different beers on tap. They serve not only self-serve craft beer, but they have ciders and seltzers. Excuse me. But they have ciders and seltzers, and they also, I think, have like wine and things like that too.
They do. Yeah, they have taps for those.
Whiskey options and all kinds of things. So,
yep. Shout out to Josh and Amy.
Yes.
Hoppin' River North. Big fans of them, and we might have them on here too. I hope to.
Yeah, hopefully so. Hopefully so. So my number 2 on the list was Little Miami Brewing in Cincinnati. Again, I was there with you. but also our Cincinnati correspondent. Every day I'm bubbling. Follow her on Instagram, Liz. She came and she joined us, and we talked about this place on the Cincinnati Takeover Edition. It sits on a river, or sits by a river. It's a tremendous space with a very, very big tap list, a big food list. The space inside is tremendous. Outside, you can sit around in Adirondack chairs. We didn't get to that day because it was raining, but wow, what a great place.
Fabulous place. And we were in good company. And we finally got there.
Yes.
It's been a point of discussion for a little bit. We've been trying to get there. We finally got there. And man, that's going to be a place where we say that we're going to go back every time we can because we want to experience the part we didn't that you just talked about, sitting out by the river and that kind of thing. So
we'll gives us a reason. We may have to stay over there. I mean, I might take a sleeping bag and sleep right next to it.
Well, and then there's a distillery directly across the street.
Yes.
That's a twofer. So when we go to one, we got to plan for the next one, which is across the street, or which one we go first to. I don't know, but we're going to the distillery.
Gotta go to the distillery. Gotta have the twofer. All right. Yes. So here we go. Number one, and this is not a shock at all. My number one brewery so far for 2025. Let's see. Is it a place called Great Lakes in Cleveland?
Is it pretty great?
Yes, it's pretty great. Where you, I believe, were with me, along with our friends Keith and Elizabeth in Cleveland. And so, yes, we said so many great things about Great Lakes on our Cleveland Takeover edition. Go back and listen to that. The only thing I can say is epic. I would be surprised. I would honestly be surprised if the year ends, and if that's not still my number one, well, whatever would be replacing that as my number one better be damn good.
It would have to be on Mars. Oh, like we opened a brewery on Mars, and it still might not be that good because I have to friggin' travel that far. But
do they have breweries on Mars?
I don't know, but that's the only thing that could replace Great Lakes, I think, would be a brewery on Mars. Except I still have to get there, which is going to suck. Anyway.
Yeah, well, good luck with that.
With you. That is fantastic, and we could elaborate on that for another episode about how great Lakes.
All right.
Very great list, sir.
Yes. Well, thank you very much. And now
I don't disagree with anything on that list.
And now we go to your list.
Now, my list, there are two things on here that are the same. Because some things if they just are, they are. Now, I could have put a couple of what you had on your list on my list as well, but we can't have duplicates. That's boring, right? I mean, we can't have everything be a duplicate. However,
okay.
But I have good reason. Okay. Number 5, 11-3 Brewing, Chardon, Ohio.
Yeah.
After Hoppin' Frog on our way to Cleveland, it was our next stop. Before we even got to Cleveland, we went through Cleveland, basically past Cleveland, and went to Chardon, to 11-3 Brewing, and it was phenomenal.
Yes.
And we had a really good discussion about this on the Cleveland Takeover, about 11-3 and the beers that we had there. And we loved it. We loved the people, and we loved our company. And I don't want to say too much away. We had a discussion about them already on the thing, so not to kind of over elaborate, but great brewery, and that's my number 5. Okay.
I don't blame you there. I could have made this a tie of a number 5 for me, but there would have been like 20 of them. In fact, 11-3 could have been way up there as well. And really, in all seriousness, they are. And I have a feeling that when the year ends and I'm making out a top 10 list, they will probably be on it.
Easily, yes, they're going to be in there. But we had to cut it to 5, and we're trying to entertain at the same time. So we could have had the same exact list, and that's boring. But anyway,
I know.
Great brewery, love them. Number 4,
yes,
Crazy Gnome Brewery, Nashville, Tennessee. And you say, well, Crazy Gnome's been around a while. Well, they got a new location.
That's right.
Over on Kirkland Avenue, and they're my number 4 favorite brewery of the year so far. because I love what Grayson's done over there, and we got an inside tour, and we got to see the place before it was opened up, and we've got to see it after it's opened up, and wonderful things are happening over there, and I love the place, and I love Kramer, and I love Grayson, and I love the brewery, and I love what they're doing. So,
and they have taken it up a notch.
They've taken it up a notch, and they got their like 2.0. It's Crazy Gnome 2.0.
There you go.
And I know they're excited about being that new location. So hats off to them for the new location, and they're my number 4. So,
all right,
number 3 is our first duplicate, but it's
moving
okay.
it on up here. By the
That's
way,
okay.
Who was with you when you're 4 and 5s? The company.
It was you.
Oh, okay, yeah. What
You
about your number
there?
3? What about your number 3?
You were there also.
Oh, imagine that.
There seems to be a theme.
Well, there's a theme going on here, people.
Now, like you said, there were other people around. So
Hey, what the heck are they doing there?
But those people weren't at every location we're talking about. There is a common thread here. So just
common. Yeah, it's common.
There's a common thread.
Yeah.
Number 3, Narrow Path.
Uh-huh.
Loveland, Ohio. And for all the reasons you said, just it was picture perfect. And we had decent company. And the beer was really good. And it was just a great scene. The whole thing was a great scene. And I would go back there and again in a heartbeat. Number 2. Now I just came, and we will. That's a point. We're going to make that a point. Number 2. Now, I just came back from here, and I just talked about it half an hour ago. Hofbrauhaus in Munich, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I couldn't put that on my list.
I think that it is very much needing to be on the list, yes.
Yes. I mean, I was there a week ago or less. It was Thursday, a week ago, something like that. Outstanding place. It's where it originates. It's everything it's cracked up to be. As busy as it is, and maybe there's tourists, maybe there's not, but the place is legit and the beer is legit. And I got to go to Hofbrauhaus in Munich, where it basically started. So
Prost.
Couldn't leave them on the list, and they will obviously be in my top 10 somewhere along the way by the end of the year. Anyway, number 1 might be boring for some.
What?
But not
number
for
1.
us. Great Lakes Brewing Company in Cleveland, Ohio.
Really?
No surprise. It is fabulous.
It is
for all the reasons we have said in multiple episodes. For all the things why it's fabulous and will continually be fabulous. And number 1 on my list, probably forever. The only reason it'll come off the list is when we have to do new breweries that we've gone to. You know what I mean? You know, for 2026, we'll have to go to new breweries, and but anyway. Anyway, Great Lakes Brewing, number 1, amazing, and
number 1 on the charts, number 1 in our hearts. How's that?
Absolutely. No, yeah, absolutely perfect. And Jesus Christ, I don't know. I don't know how you get better than Great Lakes Brewing Company with experience we had.
Very true.
With that being said, I'm trying to think of something. I'm trying to segue to something.
Sorry, I was about to start coughing there.
No, you're good. I
got hit by allergies as you were talking about Great Lakes. I'm like, I wanted to say more. Let me say more. Yes. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot more things we could say about Great Lakes, but we have talked about them so much, and we're gonna have Michael Williams come on from Great Lakes Brewery again. Later in the year.
We want to save something. We want to save something for the next one, right?
That's right. That's right. But he's gonna come on, I believe, probably in September.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have more about them. Yeah.
Yeah, more. And do you want to tease about a few things we have coming up?
What do you want to tease?
Well, we have that. We have another brewery out of Cincinnati.
So we have Esoteric that's going to be coming on very soon out of Cincinnati, and they were absolutely fantastic to meet when we were up there. And as we said, the Hill Tappers are going to be on our next podcast, and we got many others coming down the pike.
Yeah, the Hill Tappers one, I'm kind of lukewarm to. I think it'll be
Oh,
okay ultimately.
yeah.
It should be fine. We'll get
Yeah.
through it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it'll be fun.
You're going to hear more about the Sully scale and maybe
The
some other
Sully's,
things. Oh,
maybe
yeah.
some other things,
And maybe some other
and
things.
we have some cool stuff. I really would love to say it right now, but until we get a date, I'm not gonna say that. But we got some fun stuff coming too. So
I know.
that you and I
More,
talked about today.
yes. More fun things ahead, but we hope you've enjoyed this lovely episode. And who knows? Maybe we'll have more of the top 10 lists coming later this year, and we'll see how much this all changes.
Yeah, we will, and more to come. Just more to come. We're always working on new stuff, and hope you just keep listening.
Keep listening. All right, we're going to be out there everywhere, guys and gals, and we hope to see you soon. So I'm Steve, and he's Scott. This has been the Brewery on the Ground podcast.
Cheers.
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 Hey, way to end a podcast.
We could have figured that shit out. Yeah, we'll take a few of those things out at the end, but